Hey guys, what's up? March is almost over, literally in a couple of days. It went by so fast. Um, but so I kind of wanted to make this short video, not like a recap, but there's a couple of videos that I wanted to make about March in March, but I think this weekend we'll go to the coast actually and it'd be really nice to make those there. Been thinking of some really cool cinematic ideas now because weather's getting nice. I actually might even do that instead this weekend. But with that being said, March was crazy for me. It was a big change in my life and a big chapter in my life from last year, so March of 2025. And during that time, I went to Europe for about a month. Went to Spain, France, Germany, Bulgaria, and Macedonia. Awesome. It was so fun. And I miss my homies back in Macedonia a lot. But great experience. I've been to Europe before that, but I was very young, and I've been to other countries before that. But in terms of being older, that's kind of the first time I went to all those countries, being over 18, right? And you learn a lot. I knew this before I left the U.S. how the U.S. actually is, but just going there to those places confirmed that U.S. is not number one. They're not the best. This, that, whatever. If anything, the rest of the world laughs at us, and it's true. The USA is a joke and it's a huge lie. But that's a whole different thing to get into. But aside from that, that's one big thing. And people always ask, they say like, why? Why is traveling such an important part of your life? Why do you even need to travel, or what's even the purpose or point of it? I could go on for hours on how beneficial travel is for you guys. And in general, you learn so much, you see so much, you meet so many great people, you have so many great experiences, and It is an it is a life-changing experience. I'll say that again. Listen, going out of from where you are right now, let's say you're in the States, leaving to go to a whole nother country or a few countries, it will form you into a completely different person. And also depending on your mindset, but generally it does. And it can't just be like, there's people who go, oh, we go to Mexico every summer and just stay in the tourist resort and not do anything, but just do the same things we do in the US, just in a different country to say we went to Mexico or something. You're not really like getting that experience, I guess. The people just drink and party and that's it. But anyway, very big event for me. Um, and then through in those couple of months, so March and April and stuff, actually, when I got back from my trip, I talked about this a while ago. I did get in a pretty bad car accident. Well, luckily, I was in one piece, just a slight concussion, I think. Um, but during that time, it's hard for me to kind of talk about it because I don't want to sound like I'm being a baby about it. But the reason why I'm kind of making this March recap or just talking about it is because that was like the starting point for me of kind of a new step, a next step, if that kind of makes sense. And since I got back from that trip, and I mean, early 2025 was still pretty good, but since I got back from that trip, nothing has felt real, nothing has felt the same. I say this a lot, but there's just been so much, and the time goes by so fast. But also, the part I was saying is kind of hard to talk about was during that time, I was in a serious relationship with somebody for about 2 years, I think 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years. Um, and if it's all okay, relations, breakups, yeah, they happen, but I kind of got a pretty bad card dealt to me on kind of what went on, and there's a lot more to it, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video on all of that, what I learned and what I can teach you guys and what can really help you for something like that. But I'm just kind of putting this as a memory so I can look back on it and remember March and like this month and the last few days and week has been a year since all of it, all the Europe trip, all the crazy drama that happened, all the stuff that where I got in a car accident and, almost left work, was without a car, and, 2025 was a very crazy year. And I mentioned that a while ago in one of my videos, but March specifically will always be something I can't forget about because, I never thought something like that would happen to me in terms of I understood it's a possibility, but I didn't think it would happen to me. And I didn't think that, that person that I, at the time of what they showed me was, love, loyalty, and all those things. Now it's like down the road, it kind of did a whole 180 and they ended up being unfaithful. But it happens and stuff. And I get some people, they cope with it differently. But I want to make that video kind of to help you guys who've gone through that, or to even better prevent yourself from getting into something like that, or to even prepare yourself like that if you know it's coming. So I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but as a normal human being, it's like nobody should go through that. Nobody should even do that. They say people who do that have something actually wrong with them, or they have a lot of it's from childhood, or just not because you're not born that way. You're not born to be a bad person. It comes into people's lives, and whether if they consume it or not, or if they become what is being fed to them, then that's kind of what happens. But I learned a lot from it. So I'll say the best mindset you can have is try and find the positive outcome from terrible events or something bad that happens, because you're still focused on the good. So I might be like, oh, that was a really terrible event and there's so much detail, but that's for way something else. But I said, you know what? It made me to where I am today. I've learned so much. I've had so much thought on myself, career, a future, a family, and what to look for in someone next, or what to kind of trust in somebody. Or, you always get those thoughts of like, you don't want to ever talk to anybody again. And it takes a while. And there's some things that stay. There's some scars that don't heal, or if they heal, but they're still kind of there. But I know this was kind of random, but even if it doesn't get a lot of views, it's just kind of something for me to look back and just be like, hey, I made a video in March to kind of talk about it a little bit so it's not forgotten about. And speaking to you guys now, I'll probably have 2 or 3. I'll have one very long video all about everything, and then a couple others just briefly. But so it's a beautiful day and we've been getting nice weather. I'm really happy to have it back. I do miss the winter and fall, but I need this. I need this weather, and I need this light, and I need all of it for videos, for cinematics, and just for vitamin D, of course, because Oregon's pretty dark and rainy generally, which is going to rain in a couple days. It goes really nice and sunny and hot, then it rains, hot and cold, hot and cold. The spring is very bipolar. But yeah, I miss this. I miss being outside, and the YouTube channel has actually slowly been growing. It never died. It never died. I'm so happy. That's so nice. Because even though there was a big period of time when we didn't post, there was still something there. And I would not frequently, but every now and then do a couple of videos, and they'd actually sometimes get a couple thousand or a few hundred, a couple thousand or a few hundred, up and down. But as we've been more consistent, things have been going up, thankfully. So I hope these mics can pick up the nature sounds here, because it's so beautiful and we have so many nice birds. But I know this video is random and it's just kind of stuff, but something to look back on. Or maybe me 20 years later, I can look back on this, see how young I am, which is crazy, man. Time flies. I don't want to get old, and I hate seeing people get old. And it's hard for me sometimes to make connections with people or animals, like say get another dog, or if I make really good close friends or more family or just people, because everything dies. pretty much. Everything goes. And it's hard, like, growing old with the people who don't have as much time as you do, especially with dogs. But so it's hard to make more connections when it's just another thing that you can lose. But you have to learn to accept loss. But you just sometimes think about it, you know. But time goes on, and we can only go forward. But the biggest thing is, don't throw your life away. Don't throw your life away on instant gratifications or destroying your health or your mindset, your family, or your true goals or dreams. Like, don't destroy your life by getting in debt, going to, I know that people are going to hate me for this, but going to a job that you hate and you're stuck there for the rest of your life and you only get a Saturday, Sunday off. You barely make enough to survive, so you're just working like a slave. You don't have enough time to travel. You maybe get one vacation, you retire at 65, and then you're broke, and then you don't have enough money, and then you're so old you can't do anything. Make the experiences, live your life, and be able to be happy financially, and also be able to have that freedom of your time. Be financially free with money, financially free with your time. That's the biggest goal for all of us. Everyone wishes they had more time. And how our system kind of works, you need a lot of money for certain things. You don't always do. You can learn to live without money and also be free, which is very possible. But with how expensive things are, you want a house, you want a nice car, you want to have a big family, that stuff costs quite a lot now. So, but that's my ultimate goal. I want to make a pretty good, decent amount, a really comfortable amount. Even the more the better, but even like somewhere where I can have a house, a nice car, the cars I love and want, the place I want, the family I want. That's all I care about. But I really want to make history. I really want to make an impact, and I want to bring back my family that is, all the way. We have all this history from generations down, all the way to a dynasty and stuff. And I want to bring all that back. And I want to kind of get us closer together where we can be really strong and nobody through our family will have to struggle. But let's wrap it up. So that's March, and there's a lot more stuff to talk about, and we'll get that into later videos. So a couple days before March ends, I can't believe it. It's gone by so quick. It feels like yesterday. Nothing feels real. And there's so much nostalgia for me in terms of sights, sounds, smells, tastes, everything. It just doesn't feel real. It's like you want to go back in time just to, I don't know, tell yourself during that time to handle things differently or do things differently or prepare yourself, or just to observe, I guess, what I could have done better or different. But it's never something I'll forget about. So yeah, but we'll talk about it more. Thank you, March. That day, those days, that month have made all of this happen, all this come to life, and just another level up. A rough road, but we're kind of through it now and things are clearing up. But we'll see. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one, okay? All right, peace.